There is a lot to cover this Friday afternoon, and we start at 4 o'clock with developing world news. The worst terror attack in Russia in 2 decades, with media reports saying that 40 people have died in a shooting at a large concert hall in Moscow, with more than 100 more being hurt. There's new video coming in, and it shows 4 armed people inside of the concert hall where there was a rock concert taking place. Russian news reporting that the suspects threw explosives, and that triggered a large fire inside of the building. There still have been no immediate claims of responsibility, but there's much more on this developing story coming up on NBC Nightly News at 5:30. The other big developing international story comes from the UK. The Princess of Wales saying today that she is being treated for cancer.
This comes after weeks of speculation and rumors over her health. Kate Middleton announced today she is undergoing chemotherapy. NBC's Megan Fitzgerald has more.
A lot of sympathy. I mean, this is absolutely taking this country and certainly the world by shock. This is very unexpected, and I can tell you that Twitter is now flooding with condolences for the princess. At the end of the day, you know, we're talking about a mother of 3 young children who had to then break down what she's experiencing to them. We're also seeing Kensington Palace really sort of in many ways drawing a red line here, putting this information out. We saw her, we heard her from her own mouth exactly what she's dealing with as a way of trying to stop the conspiracy theories and to really give the Princess of Wales and her family the privacy that she's desperately asking for as she tries to make, in her own words, this full recovery. Will we see her out in the public again? It's possible. She's eager to get back to her work, as she said, but her focus right now is on a full recovery. The palace also saying that we will not expect to see her at Easter services next weekend with her family as we typically do. They're not giving details on what type of cancer, how long she has been receiving the treatment, how long she will continue to receive this preventative chemotherapy treatment. But again, the big takeaway here is that she is dealing with cancer and that the family is asking the world for privacy.
That was Megan Fitzgerald reporting. And coming up later this hour, our 9 health expert will join us to discuss the further cancer testing that happened after her surgery. We ended the work week with another beautiful spring day that started with an impressive sunrise. Sky 9 captured this shot at 7 this morning. Got another pretty day ahead before the weather does a little bit of change up this weekend. Of
course, the sun continues to burn outside. Beautiful afternoon for Chris to step outside. Still in the 60s, Chris.
Still in the 60s, still beautiful. It is wonderful weather outside right now on this Friday. And if you like this weather, we've got one more day of it before, as you mentioned, Tom and Kim, things will take a bit of a change as we get to the back half of the weekend. In particular, could be talking about some thunder snow on Sunday night. It's hard to believe with this wonderful weather that we're looking at right now. Let's take a look at what we saw in terms of those temperatures so far for today. A lot of 50s, 60s, eastern plains. We did have a weak front drop on through overnight. You might have felt those slightly kind of more refreshing, maybe colder temperatures this morning. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit chilly, depends on how you saw it. I felt it was kind of refreshing this morning, but that's neither here nor there. HE Doppler radar is quiet right now, but you look off to the west, notice that distinct counterclockwise spin off the California coastline. That's our next troublemaker. That one works its way into the picture tomorrow night and into Sunday morning into the mountains. For tonight, though, it's mostly dry. A hit or miss shower here and there. Very few and far between for us tonight into the high country. That's where we could see again a rain shower at lower elevations and above 10,000 feet, maybe some snow showers. For tonight, we drop back to around freezing for us. Those lows mostly in the 30s for us on the eastern plains. But we look ahead to tomorrow, it does turn a bit notably breezier for tomorrow. Those winds that could gust up to 25, maybe 30 miles an hour for us for tomorrow. And those highs in the upper 60s and low 70s. But that's out ahead of our next storm system. I'm going to get into details, and I'm also going to show you some snowfall totals in terms of what we can expect from that storm. That is coming up in my full forecast in about 15 minutes.
Today is March 22nd. Today we remember the 10 people that were killed in a Boulder grocery store. It was 3 years ago that the shooter opened fire outside of the Table Mesa store and then inside as well. The Boulder Strong Resource Center remains available for people suffering from the tragedy. Coming up in about 2 hours, the community will also come together at E-Town Hall in Boulder for a special remembrance there.
The legal case against the accused shooter is still ongoing. 3 years later, our investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn has been following delay after delay in the case. Families of the victims are frustrated the court process is taking so long. Kevin will have much more on that coming up tonight at 5 o'clock. One of those victims in the shooting, Kevin Mahoney, was just weeks from becoming a grandfather.
And this afternoon, 9 News reporter Evan Krugel, along with photojournalist Ann Herbst, show us the legacy of Grandpa Mahoney, and it lives on 3 years later.
Life's biggest milestones don't follow a schedule like the changing of a season. Sometimes milestones happen unexpectedly.
Nice. That was good.
Like a new dance move on the living room floor.
She's seriously so funny.
Erica Mahoney
You're funny, huh, honey?
cherishes every single one.
She is a people person, yeah.
The first steps, the first words from her 2-year-old daughter and 8-month-old son,
Okay, so the thing is you can't look at the camera, okay?
whose privacy she holds close,
Don't look at the camera.
along with every moment.
What was this? A box of...
But with every first, there is something missing.
Nice. But yeah, it's like that next chapter was just like taken from him and taken from me and taken from my kids.
Erica still remembers the phone call from her mom.
She said there's an active shooter at King Soopers. And then she was kind of quiet and she said, Dad went grocery shopping.
Her dad was loading up his car with groceries and coffee when the shooter arrived.
When we finally got his car back, the cups of coffee were still sitting in the center console, just like cold. And I feel like that is heartbreaking because it was like he was just here. So that was like a really low point. The groceries were still in the trunk.
It was the worst moment of her life, at a time when life was supposed to be going in a different direction.
I was entering the 3rd trimester of my first pregnancy, and that was really hard. I lost a parent while becoming a parent, and it was just so hard to balance death and life at the same time.
As she dealt with the highs and the lows,
I'm so inspired to live my life like Kevin.
support poured in from across the world. Friends and strangers lifting her up.
That meant a lot. It's like both painful and beautiful at the same time. It's like this like box of cards that is like so hard to look back at, but also shows me the good in the world. It was June 19th, 2022.
She has started writing herself
Dear Dad, my daughter will be 1 on Tuesday.
in letters to her dad.
Being a mom feels very natural to me, but motherhood arrived at such a strange time. These beautiful milestones come with heartache.
Last year, Erica had more big news.
Jojo's so cute.
With the birth of her son, Erica says every day
Ah, so sweet.
she sees more of her dad in her kids.
My daughter has his eyes, and that is really cool.
Cool, Erica is now seeing in old photos
Yeah, there's my dad.
that make her smile instead of cry.
Sweet hairdo. Parts of his life I will never know now, but I'm so happy to see these pictures.
The family just moved back to Boulder from California a few weeks ago. And while it's tough to drive by the store, Erica chooses to look in other directions.
It's really been so magical to come back home. Like, I look at those mountains and I see my dad, and it is beautiful.
Her daughter has started asking about Grandpa.
No one prepares you for how to explain like this to your child. And I'm still figuring it out. But I talk about Grandpa Mahoney, and she knows who he is. She likes to look at pictures of him, and she asks questions about him, and she wanted a picture of him in her room. And I tell her that if she's ever scared, she can ask Grandpa Mahoney for help. No one can replace you, and no one ever will.
A legacy that lives on within Erica's family,
You were the best dad in the world to me.
here for every moment along the way.
Thank you for coming to visit us when you can. We all feel your presence.
Now, a lot of work has been done to that store. Erica says she hasn't been back to the grocery store yet and says, frankly, she isn't sure she ever will. But one thing that I took away from that interview, she says when she drives by now, which she does frequently, she doesn't look at the store and think about what happened there. She looks up at the mountains that she used to climb with her dad, and she focuses on him instead. Kim and Tom.
Yeah, there's so much about community in a story like that, from the larger community of Boulder to that micro community, people who saw that Table Mesa King Supers as the center of their life. But even the global community she mentioned, she got letters from around the world offering support.
And she kept every single one, and she responded to every single one just to let them know how appreciative she was.
It's such a beautiful story. And her writing is so helpful too, I think. Helpful to her and to her children.
Yep.
You know, making sure that they have their grandpa.
Right. And she said that's the biggest thing for their family right now, is making sure he may not be here in a physical sense, but he's definitely still a big part of the family.
Oh, absolutely.
Certainly a very difficult day for many people in the Boulder community. Thanks, Evan. And as we go to break now, we do want to remember the 10 victims on this day 3 years ago.